Ferrari has finally found something they had been searching for throughout the entire 2026 Formula One season: momentum to fight back at the front of the grid. But just as the SF-26 began showing signs of a resurgence, a massive storm arrived from the most dangerous direction possible, the FIA. Behind the closed doors of the paddock, tensions have now reached a critical point after reports emerged that the FIA is preparing to ban two controversial Ferrari innovations believed to be the key to the SF-26's performance. Even more concerning, Ferrari could reportedly lose nearly half a second per lap if those systems are ultimately removed. So has Ferrari's recent resurgence truly come from the car's raw strength, or has it actually depended on a regulatory loophole that the FIA is now targeting? Let's discuss. Ferrari entered the 2026 season under enormous pressure. After months of criticism over the SF-26's performance, which was considered not strong enough to challenge McLaren, Red Bull and Mercedes, the Maranello-based team finally started to see a glimmer of hope. The upgrade package introduced in Miami delivered results far more positive than expected. Straight-line speed improved significantly, rear-end stability looked much stronger through medium-speed corners, and tyre degradation became much more manageable during long runs. Those changes immediately sparked whispers around the paddock that Ferrari was slowly closing the gap. For the first time in a long while, their rivals genuinely began to view Ferrari as a serious threat again. But that was exactly when the FIA started to move. The centre of the first controversy came from a tiny component that was almost invisible to television viewers: the halo wing. A small aerodynamic element mounted on the central pillar of the halo above the cockpit. At first glance, it looked insignificant, but Formula One engineers immediately understood just how clever Ferrari's solution really was. The 2026 regulations introduced a thinner halo design. Ferrari spotted a loophole in the rules that allowed additional fairing around that area. Most teams took a conservative approach and only used simple covers. Ferrari, however, chose a far more aggressive path. They transformed that tiny area into an aerodynamic weapon. The small winglet helped direct cleaner airflow toward the rear wing while also reducing turbulence around the cockpit. In Formula One, even the slightest airflow adjustment can create a massive performance impact. Reports from the paddock claim the gains were not huge in raw numbers, only a few hundredths of a second per lap, but in modern Formula One, margins that small can completely change qualifying results. And the fact that Ferrari's rivals reacted so aggressively became clear proof that the innovation was genuinely working. The situation began heating up after the Chinese Grand Prix, when Ferrari reportedly held internal discussions with the FIA regarding the legality of the original halo wing design. Paddock sources described the design as being in a borderline area, a term in Formula One that usually means the FIA is quietly issuing a warning before taking more serious action. Before the FIA pushed any further, Ferrari decided to remove the original halo wing version and replace it with a softer, less aerodynamically aggressive design. The goal was obvious: maintain performance while reducing political pressure. But the drama only grew bigger in Miami. Lewis Hamilton decided to continue using the updated halo wing version, while Charles Leclerc chose not to run it. The difference in decisions between Ferrari's two lead drivers instantly triggered major speculation throughout the paddock. Because when two drivers within a top team disagree over a new upgrade, it usually signals uncertainty behind the scenes. It could mean the performance gains are still not fully convincing. Or even worse, the FIA's pressure may already be creating doubt within Ferrari itself, and that is the most frightening part of all. Because once political pressure starts creeping into Formula One, everything changes. Engineers become more cautious, drivers begin to lose confidence, and the entire direction of car development starts to waver. Ferrari simply cannot afford that kind of instability right now. But it turns out the halo wing is not Ferrari's biggest fear. Their real concern comes from another system that is far more critical: the blown exhaust. This innovation is believed to be the true heart of the SF-26's performance. Unlike the halo wing, which is only a minor aerodynamic detail, the blown exhaust affects almost every aspect of Ferrari's car characteristics. Rear-end stability, traction on corner exits, tyre temperature management, aerodynamic efficiency on the straights. Everything is connected to that concept. And this is exactly why Ferrari is so panicked. Reports from the paddock suggest that if the blown exhaust system is completely banned, Ferrari could lose nearly half a second per lap. In modern Formula One, that is an enormous deficit. The gap between pole position and the midfield is sometimes less than a single second overall. What makes the situation even more complicated is that Ferrari did not simply copy this idea from another team. They were the first to develop the concept. Once Ferrari demonstrated how effective it was, several other teams began moving in a similar direction. Mercedes started exploring their own version. McLaren adapted a comparable concept. Red Bull also began investigating alternative solutions built around the same philosophy. The problem is that the SF-26 was designed around the blown exhaust system from the very beginning. That means, if the FIA truly bans it, Ferrari would not just lose a bit of performance. They could lose the fundamental balance of the entire car. The whole rear airflow structure, setup philosophy, and handling characteristics have evolved together with that concept. It would be like removing the foundation of a skyscraper after the building has already been completed. The structure might still stand, but its stability would immediately be compromised. And as if that were not already bad enough, Ferrari is still dealing with another major unresolved weakness: engine power. According to multiple reports, Ferrari's power unit is still trailing Mercedes by around 21 to 30 horsepower. That deficit becomes extremely dangerous at circuits like Montreal, Canada, with its long straights and heavy braking zones where acceleration is crucial. That is why Ferrari has been trying to compensate through aerodynamic efficiency. And now, the FIA is targeting the very system that has helped Ferrari survive despite their engine power disadvantage. The situation has reportedly left Fred Vasseur furious behind the scenes. From Ferrari's perspective, they believe they have not broken any rules. They simply found a loophole in the regulations faster than everyone else. They took the risks first. They developed the innovation first. Then, once rivals began copying the concept, the FIA suddenly stepped in to restrict it. To Ferrari, that feels deeply unfair. But the problem has now become far more complicated because too many teams are already benefiting from a similar philosophy. Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine, Williams, and even Cadillac are reportedly moving toward comparable concepts. That means the paddock is now trapped in a massive contradiction. Teams publicly criticize Ferrari's innovation, yet secretly use their own versions behind closed doors. This is what is making the political war behind the scenes in Formula One even more intense heading into the Canadian Grand Prix. Amid all this pressure, Ferrari is also still haunted by unresolved simulator issues. Reports suggest their simulator data frequently fails to match the car's real-world performance on track. Should Ferrari continue developing a system that the FIA may eventually ban? Should they redesign a large portion of the car's concept earlier than planned? Or should they keep betting on their current development direction? Let's know your opinion in the comments below.